What if the most shocking archaeological discovery of our lifetime had a hidden twin, buried exactly 35 kilometers away? Welcome to episode 2 of Forgotten Stones, where we examine the newly revealed shadow site of the ancient world. In our first episode, we established that Göbekli Tepe was considered a freak anomaly, a singular glitch in the accepted timeline of hunter-gatherer societies. Then, in 1997, a Turkish archaeologist named Bahattin Çelik spotted strange surface stones in the nearby Tek Mountains. But it took until 2019, under Turkey's new Taş Tepeler, or Stone Hills project, for full-scale excavations to finally begin. What they unearthed is Karahan Tepe. Roughly 11,400 years old, it covers 10 hectares of land, making its currently excavated footprint noticeably larger than its famous sibling. Researchers have already mapped out over 250 massive monoliths across this terrain. The vast majority are towering T-shaped pillars, and hundreds of them are still standing. Finding a second site of this magnitude shatters the idea that monumental hunter-gatherer architecture was a one-time accident. We are looking at a highly organized, widespread society operating thousands of years before the first cities. As archaeologists dig further into Karahan Tepe, the site reveals an architectural character that feels darker and far more permanent than its sister site. Instead of quarrying loose stones and standing them upright in the dirt, the builders here carved their T-pillars directly out of the solid bedrock. They also constructed what archaeologists call hypogeum architecture, hollowed-out subterranean pits plunging beneath the main surface level. Inside these sunken spaces, the interior complexity is striking. They meticulously left thick, rock-cut pillars completely intact, specifically to support the ceilings of these underground chambers. Carving intricate gathering spaces into the earth itself requires a massive, sustained commitment of labor. These builders were engineering a permanent, immovable anchor for their people. The artwork here points to a shift in how these people viewed their world. Where Göbekli Tepe is famous for its intense focus on animal wildlife, Karahan Tepe focuses on the human form. Some of these carvings are eerie, highly pronounced 3D sculptures emerging straight from the rock walls, including a human head resting on a long, serpentine neck. In September 2023, archaeologists cleared the dirt from a 2.3-meter-tall anthropomorphic statue, carved in a seated pose with realistic detail. While the carvings at Göbekli Tepe centered on predators and wild animals, these stones place humanity at the center of the world, suggesting these ancient people were beginning to see themselves as masters over the natural world. Their mastery extended well beyond art and stone. This geometric animation shows how the site operates as a sophisticated astronomical machine. The builders constructed a specific alignment where a shaft of sunlight enters through a porthole stone. This arrangement perfectly captures the sunrise on the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. Combining human self-deification with precise celestial tracking means these ancient people possessed a fully formed, complex cosmology millennia before the invention of farming. Finding two massive, contemporaneous sites within 35 kilometers of each other suggests their proximity is no accident. This high-contrast topographical map of the region shows the true scale of the Taş Tepeler project. We start with Gobekli and Karahan, but archaeologists have recently identified 12 similar, unexcavated sites stretching across 100 kilometers, forming a massive constellation of monumental architecture. This macro reveal is currently driving a fierce debate among researchers regarding the origins of agriculture. Building and maintaining this kind of network requires a crushing amount of physical labor. The pressure of feeding tens of thousands of workers with wild, foraged food became impossible. That caloric strain likely forced them to begin domesticating crops. This massive network likely created the very pressure that forced civilization into existence. There is one final forensic mystery that ties this entire constellation together, and it is a dark, unexplainable pattern shared by both sites. At the end of the pre-pottery Neolithic period, Karahan Tepe was meticulously and intentionally buried. Completely erasing 10 hectares of monumental architecture meant moving thousands of tons of earth and debris by hand. It was an undertaking nearly as labor-intensive as building the site itself. Why a sprawling society would spend generations mastering engineering, art, and astronomy only to coordinate the complete burial of their own world remains totally unknown. And the most haunting detail brings us right back to the present day. Over 99% of this 100-kilometer ancient network remains completely unexcavated. An entire chapter of human history is still sleeping right beneath the dirt, waiting to be found. Subscribe to follow along as we uncover the rest of the Stone Hills.